Our special guest today is Sheikh Burhanuddin Herrmann, a contemporary Sufi teacher rooted in the lineage of the Naqshbandi-Haqqani Order, one of the most influential and widespread Sufi traditions in the world. Born in Germany and trained for decades under the guidance of Sheikh Nazim al-Haqqani, he became one of his senior Western representatives, known for transmitting classical Sufi teachings in a way that speaks directly to the emotional, psychological, and spiritual challenges of modern life. With more than 40 years of teaching, Sheikh Burhanuddin has developed a distinctive approach, blending traditional Islamic spirituality with insights from ego, psychology, trauma healing, and contemplative practice. He emphasizes the purification of the ego, the harmonization of the heart, and the cultivation of presence through remembrance, silence, breath, and service. A central theme of his work is the alchemical role of love and suffering, inviting seekers to embrace their human vulnerability as a doorway to awakening. He is the author of the books Camel in the Room and The Metropolitan Dervish, and a musician, as well as the founder of the Dervish Orchestra. It is our pleasure to speak today with Sheikh Burhanuddin Herrmann.
Good evening, Sheikh. How are you?
Good, very good.
We're going to talk about many wonderful things here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. The familiar voice.
Thank
Been
you.
listening to your words, and knew I needed to talk with you, and the audience needed to hear from you as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So many people today feel spiritually disoriented. You know, everybody is so plugged into technology, so plugged into their social media. They have their phone pinging, their computers pinging, their watches pinging, but they don't feel spiritually connected anymore. And I wonder, specifically from the Sufi perspective, is this kind of because the modern path that we've taken has forgotten about the spiritual connection, or is it because commerce has made it such that that connection doesn't matter? What matters is grabbing everyone's attention all the time, which takes away from that spiritual connection.
Well, in our view, you cannot be disconnected spiritually, because to be able to exist here in this form, we need a spiritual connection. We need to have one, and everyone can experience it when they dream, for example, when they go to sleep and they have dreams. No, then when they wake up, they feel refreshed. When they don't only feel physically refreshed, but also emotionally refreshed. No, yeah. So there is always a connection there. Our soul never leaves us alone. Yeah. And that's the first thing. And then there is something, of course, like what we name the call. Yeah, some people are called, right? They feel this very strong call. It doesn't matter if they have an iPhone or if they have a TV or whatever they have. They feel a call, no? And this call draws them to the inside, to their path somehow. And according how strong it is for you and how much importance you give that call, you will make certain decisions in your life, and it will become, it will reach the first place in your life, yeah, which is the ideal place. Or you will have it more like in the background, but it is there. You have been called, okay? Okay. However, it's not for everybody, right? Not everyone is called, okay? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. And when you say people are called, they hear a calling or feel a calling in their heart toward their spiritual path, rather than what some believe as being a calling in life.
I would say it is a part of the same, yeah. Maybe for you the call ends up that you feel, I want to serve more in the community, or I want to serve children, or I want to serve blind people, whatever that is. No, it doesn't mean that everyone has to sit down and meditate or whatever feels spiritual for them,
Yeah.
It can express in many ways. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to diminish those efforts that people do, I don't want to make an elite about something, yeah, and say this is the elite and or whatever, this is not the view we have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Sufi path is a path of love, so there shouldn't be a hierarchy there, I guess, in these beliefs and analogies. One thing we see a lot of younger people struggling with today is their identity. It's gotten into politics, pretty badly and all through schools and society. And I wonder, how does Sufism um, help can help one dissolve these false sense of identity? Because I think, and I get the feeling that some people are moved into identities based on, peer pressure and their group and their in crowd, whereas others are not. They have a sense of who they are. But how can one tell, and does Sufism has a way of one telling what is that they're pursuing a false identity and how to get out of that if they are, to find their true nature?
Mm, I'm not sure if I understand the question
Mm,
really. Because on a certain point, every identity has an illusionary aspect,
mm,
you may feel that you have, if we call identity personality, yeah, kind of personality you are, then it is already in the word person. That means a mask. Yeah,
mm,
we carry a mask through our personality, and in time we have to understand how that mask looks like, to go behind it, to reach somehow behind it. So I don't know if you think about gender identity and the confusion about that topic. That is a very miserable situation that we bring our children into it, I would say. Yeah. And unfortunately, there is a lot of confusion about that. But at the end of the day, they will also find their way. Yeah, so I'm not worried. I'm not so worried about the situation as it looks like for many people. No.
yeah. When I think about identity, I've met quite a few spiritual masters that
Hmm.
I've known well throughout the past decades. And when I got to know them on a friendship level where they felt relaxed around me, I was surprised that several of them would say things like, would start eating meat if they were previously vegetarian and say, publicly, I'm vegetarian, but I do eat meat. And, they would speak piously or of things and be very upright in public, but behind the doors, the words they would say to me, the comments about women or about another human being, just derogatory. And I thought, how long does it take to know if the person who is presenting himself, his persona, as Jung would say, as a spiritual teacher or healer, was gaining psychologist even gaining the trust of their clients, but is really not um, aligned properly. Uh, they're using that spirituality or the healing powers or the powers of their teacher as a means of ego satisfying rather than of helping others. Are there certain tales or tells that one can know or see when looking for a teacher?
I would say you will attract the master that you are.
Mm,
So if you are not really ready, yeah, and you don't really want to know yourself. You don't want to see the truth, let's say. Yeah. Then you may attract a master that is shady, or that is not really what he pretends to be. Yeah. So again, before we start bashing here all the false gurus and God knows what, yeah, I would say everything starts with yourself. Yeah. There was a Hitler, and many people followed him, and some didn't. Okay. Yeah. There were others, and many people followed them, and some didn't. It has to do with yourself, right? And something is needed in that person for you. No?
Right.
Yeah, that you cannot see yourself, or that you cannot give yourself, and sometimes you need to be cheated also, right? You need to be betrayed, you need to be lied, yeah. Your trust has to be broken so that you can go further, where the trust cannot be broken anymore, right? Yeah. So, yeah, there is a lot of things going on that we do not support, let's say, but at the end of the day, everyone attracts what he is. Yeah.
I think you had said in some of your teachings that both love and sufferings are needed, and suffering is needed on the path to evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suffering is not a bad thing if it takes you further, right? If you, of course, get stuck in something and you just suffer and suffer and suffer, then there is no point on that. But the suffering in itself is as good as the happiness. Yeah, it can take you to places that nothing else can take you. No, so suffering. If you sign for this planet, suffering is part of the program, right? That you have to understand. And so if you want to create an ideal situation in your life, this is not going to happen, because there's no ideal in this world. Yeah?
Right.
And so suffering is something we don't have to look for, but when it happens, we have actually also a method which we call conscious suffering. But these are little practices. For example, if you are waiting for a line at the supermarket, no, and there is a shorter one and there is a longer one, you take the longer one, just to expand your patience, to expand your stamina, and of course it might be a suffering, yeah, right, but it will benefit you, it will make you stronger, no, while suffering that is inflicted on you, no, by force or by legal things also, then this is a difficult thing. You have to deal with it differently, right?
Yeah. That reminds me too that there are a lot of teachings that those around you are a mirror of yourself, and a mirror and a reflection. If we're looking at something in a teacher that we don't like, or another person, do the Sufis see that as well, that we're seeing something in ourselves that we don't like?
It is not 100% like that. Yeah.
Right.
So if it comes in you that you have again and again doubts about your teacher, no, then that's not a good sign, Then something doesn't work there, And basically, you have to be in peace with your master. Yeah? You have to somehow have a trust, and through this trust, you can do things, you can achieve things which you would not be able to do by yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if there is a permanent mistrust there, or a permanent doubt, you should listen to that.
Yeah. You were brought close to Sheikh Nazim al-Haqqani. You
Yes,
had a very close relationship with him, and
yes.
he was quite the leader. I think I remember a story that you're a musician,
Mm,
uh, and that he asked you to stop listening to music
yeah,
for a period of time.
yeah.
And even if you hear a radio in the store, leave the store. Yet the Sufi tradition is filled with music and dance. So I'm curious about his request for you to step away from music for a period of time.
Well, everything can become a crutch for you, that you depend on, yeah, but you don't need it. And for me, I was very much depending on music to express myself, to express my emotions. All that I did through music,
Mm.
And he saw that, yeah. He saw that, and he said, you don't touch an instrument, you don't listen to music, you don't look TV, yeah, because there is also music in the films, no? So he put me completely off music, no? And of course, in the beginning, I felt like I'm an addict, and I had symptoms of an addict, you can say, right? And after 5 years, following this instruction, then he called me back and said, didn't you do music once? I said, yes, Mona, I did, but you know that you said stop it. So he said, now you begin it again, yeah. And this time you don't do it with your ego, but you do it for the divine, And so this is when I started slowly again to do it. I was never doing really music, like that, like like hardcore metal stuff or this kind of music where you would say, okay, this was understandable, I was actually doing very nice music, yeah. We played things from Shakti, from John McLaughlin that time, and it was much more instrumental kind of thing. But yet it was a crutch for me, and I had to get rid of it. Yeah, I had to get independent from it, And yeah, so he saw that. Yeah.
I hadn't remembered the 5-year part. That's quite a stretch of time.
Yeah.
And it must be one of those patiences and trust in the Sheikh that this is the path to take, because that must have been fighting inside of you, hearing the music all the time, maybe moving your fingers like you were playing guitar or something.
Well, I had a record contract also at that time, yeah,
Oh,
which in this time was still really a valuable thing. This was like
right.
making a career or don't make it. So not only that he took the music from me, but he also took the profession from me,
Right.
and my career in that sense, And so of course, without loving him so crazy, I could never have done that, right? But love can do. Love can do what you cannot do otherwise, no? And that's why I'm saying you have to have this trust, this feeling that your master is real, that he knows, yeah, and that is very important, yeah. And I would say like this, there is one thing you may look, and this is the tradition where he comes from, yeah. If there is not a master before him, if there is not a chain of transmission, like in most of the spiritual paths you have that,
Yes.
then be careful, let's say, yeah. So we do not really like this, what we call the new age, yeah, and all that stuff. We're not very much on these things, no, yeah. What we also don't call them masters, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I,
But there is another saying as well in Sufism. It says, even your master is a donkey, yeah, but you trust him, you believe in him, he will bring you to your place.
mm.
So, you know, both can be true.
I recall you saying that,
Okay.
describing Sheikh Nazim, that you found him to be one of the most beautiful beings you had ever seen. Is this something that was felt inside, or was it like an energy encompassing that just pulled you in to a state of love? And was this love immediate, or did it take time, or, after a first meeting?
Well, when I met him the first time, I actually fainted. Yeah.
Wow.
I was just coming close to him, walking, and there came this light, this incredible light, and I just couldn't bear it anymore, and I just fainted. And the love was from the very beginning there, from moment one, you can say. You see, if you meet a king, and there is not many kings, in that category, then there is not a choice you have. Those people, they take your life. It's not like, oh, I am the one who decides. Yeah. It's just, for whatever reason, you get picked up, and you cannot think any other thing anymore than your master. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up with him, you literally breathe him, you go in bed. There is nothing else. Yeah. When you meet a king like this, that's it. And wherever he takes you, this is what will happen.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think with that kind of feeling and that kind of knowing, you can follow the donkey you mentioned, because you know that there's something deeper
Yep.
and more. Yeah. I hear a lot people saying they believe in God, but they don't feel close to God. And I believe in the Quran, it says that Allah is nearer than your jugular vein, or something along those lines. How do we, if we are made of the essence of God, we are all of the same materials with the star and the planet, and our consciousness. If Allah is close as our jugular vein, why is it that our human nature separates us from our connection? And what can soften those veils of between us and God?
Well, the first thing you need to practice is truth. Yeah, radical truth. No, because the truth is God. Yeah, and we all know when truth comes to us. Yeah, we all know when we are true. Yeah, so when you are living a true life, yeah, with all your intention, with all what is truth for you in that moment, you cannot feel really distant from him. Yeah, and people look always for love. And of course, love is what drives us the most, right? But love cannot survive without truth. Yeah, truth is the foundation of everything in your life. So make your life based on truth, right? And that will never give you this feeling I'm separate, because the truth is God. Yeah, and this is why Jesus said the truth sets you free. Yeah, so this is how it is. Follow the truth. Yeah, no matter that it is against you, because most of the time it will be against you. Follow the truth, right? Have this unshakable intention. No, and then those who do that, they will meet. The question is not what you believe. The question is where you can meet. We cannot meet in belief. Yeah, you believe like this, I believe like this, and we cannot criticize each other for our beliefs, but we can meet in truth, you know. We can meet in truth. We cannot love everyone also so easily, you know. Yeah, maybe some can, but most of people not. But we can be true with everyone, right? So this is where you go. Yeah, you try just to be true as much as you can, no, and that will give you a satisfaction in your life. That will give you a peace, you know. Yeah, people say, for example, maybe they say, "Oh, this Mark, you know, he's an arrogant person, or he's just a phony also, and God knows, and he does all that to polish his own ego, whatever, you know." But you know the truth, right? Yeah, and if you know it, people can speak what they want, you know. Yeah, if there is something correct, then you can say, "Oh, thank you, thanks God, someone reminded me, you know, and helps me." Okay, but if it's not correct, you don't have to feel hurt. You understand? Yeah, you can't hurt a person that is really true. Yeah, on what he is true. Yeah, so if you are honest in your thing, if you are sincere, if you just want to benefit people, you know, and there's always a little ego part, but you have that in check, let's say. Yeah, you are conscious about that. Okay, then nothing can harm you or can hit you. Yeah, you understand? People speak, and the moment you do something or you say something, you will always have people that are against you. Okay, yeah, you cannot be everybody's darling, but that is not what we're looking for.
Yeah.
What you should look for is that you are sure that you give yourself the most truth you can. Okay, yeah, that's it, you know, and that will hold you on the path, no matter which path you take. You see, every path has to be walked in truth. There is no other option. Okay, and this is how we meet, right?
Mm.
And then love can happen.
Mm.
Okay, then love can happen and love can stay. Yeah, it needs truth, right? Yeah.
So living in truth and feeling love is a way to feel God, to feel closer to God.
When somebody looks at you with love, you know, this is God looking at you with love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is how we experience love as the first level, you know, and we don't have to banalize that. We don't have to bring that down, you know. We don't have to call it, this is this, and this is not love, and this is conditional love, and all this talking, you know. Of course, it's conditional love. Yeah. Yeah. Show me an unconditional love. Yeah. Doesn't exist. This is just a name, you know, but it's not a reality. Okay? Yeah. So even the mother loves his child almost unconditional, but it is still conditional. Yeah. It's very far not being conditional, but it is not free, yeah, completely, because you're a human being, you know. You can't love totally unconditional. What should that be, you know? Yeah. If your child does something wrong, you name it, you know. And you will put conditions on it, yeah. But still you love it, yeah. And then you can call it conditional love, whatever, you know. But it is love in action, right? Yeah. So love can only be there when you are in truth, and when that happens, you will experience in your relationships real love, yeah. And you will find that it mixes with the divine love. Yeah, you will feel that, you know. Yeah, and then you go deeper and deeper, and inshallah, one day you see the light of God, and that will make you to understand everything else. Okay.
The mystical experience has always been more central for me than an intellectual understanding of religion and spirituality across the spectrum. are there specific ways in Sufism, and I'm thinking your answer is going to be love, and feeling love, that one can experience a feeling of God within, rather than just having an abstract intellectual understanding of there is a God and I'm praying for this abstract thing?
Well, you have to understand that the ego is a very strong thing that wants to keep us separate, from existence. Because you see, once you have such an experience, you don't want to give up your life then. You don't want to change just everything because of that experience. So you will unconsciously not allow certain experiences, until maybe you are ready for it, and you're probably not ready before you're really kind of broken. No. So when you have, there is no grant for everything, for anything, but when you practice Dhikr and prayers in the way we tell it, you have a great chance that the doors will open to you, But there is no grant in it, because as it is said also in the Book of Love in the Quran, and God brings to his light whom he wants. So it is not granted. But if someone is asking, if someone is trying and really looks for it, he may experience. But you see, you also have to understand that the divine is not just coming in love. And for many people who are, let's say, real in their path, the first experience they had with it is a very forceful experience, because it's a force, first of all. It's the force that created everything, And to experience this force is devastating. It is not something that you really want to have a second time. And so the other oceans that you can also experience, love oceans, they will probably come after that, you see. So to really make the ego to understand yes or yes, that there is no other existence, that there is no other being, absolutely spoken, than the divine itself, it will be experienced by force. And this force cannot be described. You see, this is beyond science. This is, you could, maybe the closest force we have here on Earth is the atomic power, yet it is nothing in comparison to what the divine is. It's just nothing. And from that experience, there is no return. There is no fall back into certain structures that you had before. So this is why you see people, they meditate and they like to have some kind of experiences, from time to time, and they will have, but it always stays within the frame of the ego. And this is why we have millions and billions maybe of people that practice something. They meditate, they pray, yet the result on our society is very little, if none, right? We are not further away from a war. We are closer and closer to it, right? So, or from the situation on Earth, environmentally spoken, and so on and so on. We are not further away to destroy our spaceship, but we're coming closer and closer to it. Yeah. And that should give you an idea how difficult it is, yeah, to break really through, you know. Yeah. So you might have good intentions, but that is not enough. Yeah. You have to become somehow in yourself radically, yeah, without being radical to others, but you have to become radically with yourself. No. And this is not for everybody. It's also not for everybody possible. That has to happen to you. Yeah. You cannot force it at the end of the day. Yeah. It will force you. Right? And this is how it works. Yeah. But you can try. Yeah. You try. And then see what is written for you. No?
I think we have to try. It's one of the only things worth trying for.
Yeah.
But I know in Zen and in Taoism, they complain, 50 years I've been meditating and I'm not enlightened yet. And the master says, that's okay. There's always your next lifetime. Not everybody is meant at this time. And what I hear from you now is that no matter how badly you may want it, you're not the one who chooses. But it's our chore, or not chore, it is our assignment maybe to try as best we can and be sincere.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with that,
Right.
no matter what is the outcome, but there is no other real thing to do. Yeah, you have to go on the truth. Yeah, right. Whatever is true for you. Yeah, that might be looking different till a certain moment. Then it will look to you as it will appear to you very clear. Yeah. So when the Buddha meets Jesus in the spirit world, they don't have any kind of religious disputes. You understand? Yeah. They just agree in everything. And this is the same with all the leaders, with all the prophets, with all the masters. There is no dispute among them.
Right. You had mentioned Dhikr a moment ago, and I know that's a central practice of Sufism. And I wonder, when people are reciting their prayers and performing their Dhikr, their remembrance, is it enough just to repeat the words, or do they need to be felt in deep sincerity? I guess the second part of the question is, does something happen to the person reciting more profoundly in the recitation than someone just reciting words?
So the first dhikr in our school, let's say, is thank you. And you repeat it in your language. Yeah, that is the language that touches you the deepest.
Yeah.
So you can say thank you, God, if that is easy for you, or you just say thank you. And you cannot say thank you without feeling it. Yeah. You have to feel it, right? Yeah, this is like if I say to you, I love you, and you don't feel it, it will not come, it will not reach anybody, right? So thank you is something that you can always understand. Am I thankful or not? Yeah. And you can try to become thankful. This is like a muscle that you can train, right? So you become aware of all the things. This is one way, but finally you will be just thankful for the simple reason that you can breathe in and out and that you exist. Yeah, right. This is already ecstasy, because you exist. You're called into an infinite existence. Yeah, right. How should that not make you really being thankful? No. So, but you have to experience it yourself. So that's why we start with that, and till it becomes your second nature. You say thank you for everything. The bill comes, thank you. You win in the lottery, thank you. Then comes a thief, takes all away from you, thank you. You know, it is thank you either way. Yeah. Okay. And you continuously practice that. Yeah. That everything is thank you, God. Yeah. If God is not your matter, yeah, then thank you, Great Spirit, thank you, whatever it is for you. Yeah. Okay. And you do that. And then on that platform, on this ground that you prepare, yeah, then comes the mantras, the Dhikr. No, then comes the divine names, and they will have an effect on you. Yeah. Because you are now in this state of thankfulness. That means you can receive. Yeah. You're ready to receive. And then you will be ready to give. And this is how it goes. Yeah? So you first give your thankfulness, you're ready to receive. No? And this is that you have to see where can I not be thankful, you know, where am I stuck, where am I resisting? No? Yeah. Because at the end of the day it's all about resistance. No? Yeah. You resist to exist, let's say. Yeah. And you must find those places where you resist. Yeah. So maybe you are in a still very traumatic situation with your past. You are traumatic in a traumatic relation with your mama, with your papa, and so on and so on. No, so all these things you need to work till the names can really take fruit in you. Yeah? You cannot shortcut. You understand? You cannot shortcut this path. You cannot just by thinking I repeat a word and then everything is fine. That's not going to happen. Okay. Yeah. So you have to see yourself. You have to see what is in the subconsciousness. That is the place where you usually don't want to look, right? So this is where you have to go first. Okay. Yeah.
You can see how that could be very difficult, losing a child or your house. I mean, the tornadoes that have been coming through the United States and floods in Southeast Asia. And I imagine that's so difficult to find that as something to be thankful for.
Well, you don't have... Look, we don't ask the impossible.
Right.
We don't ask the impossible. If you lose a child, this is not something where we say to you, okay, now just say thank you. You know, we have to stay somewhere in the reason, okay?
Right.
But let's say beside losing a child, or on the day you lose your mother, or or someone beloved passes away, this is not the moment where you have to think on thankfulness, all right? But you have to understand that when you can come back to the bigger picture, yeah, that life is never against you. Yeah, the divine is never against you, and it might look like that. When a child passes away, this is the horror, yeah, for parents, right? I mean, I don't think you can imagine a greater horror than that, you know, really. But on a higher level, and you can only see that when you see the light of God, you will understand that nothing goes against you in your life, ever. Yeah. Beside that, we also need to understand we're living in a kind of dream state, yeah,
Right.
permanently. Yeah. So what you experience is not real in that sense. It's not absolutely real. It is as real as a dream can feel real. And a dream can feel very real, right? You can have a nightmare, and when you wake up from it, you say, thank you. Oh my God, it wasn't real in that sense, right? The same thing will happen to you when you go from this world. That's the moment where you wake up to the greater point, yeah? And you will understand that everything there wasn't against you. It was a state, a dream state that you are in, and that your soul projected you into it. Let's say like this. Yeah. So if the divine is love, and it is love, it would never allow his children to suffer real, you know. So in the dream, yes. In the dream, everything is possible. The worst things can happen, right? But in the reality, in the absolute reality, nothing of that happens. Yeah, no. This is why we can watch a movie and we can see the actors get killed, and we feel sad, yeah. Or they separate. It's a love story, and they separate for no reason because someone misunderstood the other, and we know that was a misunderstanding. If they would know the truth, they would not have separate. So we cry for them. Or a parent loses their child, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we can cry even it has nothing to do with our life, yeah. But we can feel it, right, in that moment, right? So the same, it is in our life. It is a dream state, and you may wake up before you die, but it is granted to every soul that they have a certain awakening after death. Okay? So,
yes.
But we cannot say this to a person when they just have lost a child. We cannot say to them, well, you know, everything is a dream, so don't take it so hard, you know.
Right.
We need to stay human, okay?
Well, compassion, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's still real here in our three-dimensional dream state.
You cannot speak always from up.
Right.
You see, you cannot deal with people like this. You have to go to their circumstances and their understanding and their limits, you know, and fill it with love. And there's no other way to do that. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. But for yourself, you may understand one day.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I remember.
So first you understand it mentally.
Yes.
Then it must land in your cells. It must land in your body. Then it becomes a reality. Okay. If it is just mentally, it's not enough. You have to feel it. You have to really, really feel it with all your being that it is like this. Okay. And that is a process. That is the spiritual process. Yeah. Mentally, you have understood everything. I don't know what I should tell you that you have not understood by now, you know. But it might be not a reality in your life yet, you know, completely. Yes. So that is your path. That's all our path, no? So yeah, it's coming. It's coming, don't worry.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it is coming for every one of us. Yeah. All
It
right.
is. It is.
So don't take it too serious also, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the humor.
One of I think is a miracle is how millions of people are able to memorize the Quran. I mean, it's just an unbelievable thing that you know, maybe you can't memorize your school play as a kid, but you can memorize the Quran. It's like there's something about it that makes it doable, or there's something that it brings out in you. And I think I heard another a sheikh speaking about that you don't have to memorize the whole Quran as long as when you're speaking of it or reciting it, it should be in Arabic because that's a spiritual language and it should be pronounced correctly. Is that so awesome also in Sufism?
Yes, we recite the prayers in Arabic, and we try to make it sound Arabic. Yeah, some can do that better than others.
Right.
And when we said when we asked Maulana, oh Maulana, you know, this is so difficult for us to speak it really correct, no? I said, don't worry, the angels, they will correct it for you. So you don't have to stress out yourself too much about the perfection of the recitation.
Yeah.
But yes, it is a sacred language, yeah, like Sanskrit also, like Hebrew.
Yeah.
Those are sacred languages, and it is wise to use this power of this language, because it's not the meaning only. It is basically the vibration of what happens then, when you recite it. So the word Quran means just recite, recite loud. That it means actually, And so when you do that, and you even don't understand, all the words, but you will feel something, And this is the most important of it, right? Yeah. All the holy books are kind of magic books,
Yeah.
And when you recite the Vedas, which sounds, by the way, quite similar the way they recite the Quran, you feel something, even you don't understand the word, right? So that's why we keep that as well in Sufism.
Yeah, I was wondering if the intention behind the recitation is more important than the specific perfect pronunciation. And I was remembering I was reciting Buddhist chants, and I have very difficulty time. I have a very difficult time trying to speak Chinese or Cantonese because of all of the tones. So the same word can mean horse or mother, just on the inflection. And I was asking the Buddhist monk who we were doing with, and I said, if I'm pronouncing the tone wrong, I'm saying my mother's a horse or something, like it's right. I mean, it's the same word. It's just a different tone. And is it enough just to have the proper intention for it? And because it's all the sound is a vibration, but I don't want to vibrate somebody into a horse. I want to vibrate the word for love or something. So that's why I try to ask everybody, is it the specific vibration of the word that's important, most important, or the intention behind what you're conveying in reciting things that are not in your mother tongue?
Well, this catastrophic possibilities we don't have in Arabic,
Right.
So that is it's much more safe, in that sense. By the best way you cannot come from, and God is the light of heavens and earth, into the point of, and my mother is a whore, that is not going to happen in Arabic, all right?
Right.
Yeah, the Chinese
Good to know.
language and also the Thai language,
Yes.
they have these incredible different levels of sounds. In Chinese, it is 4 different levels, the way you pronounce it. In Thailand, they have 8, that's even more complicated now. And of course, that is a limitation,
Yeah.
And might be a reason why it is not meant to be for everybody. Very simple.
Could be.
So it has to be in this way that it is reachable for everyone. And if not, then it is not valid. It is valid for that area, for these people. But if it's so complicated, and it is very complicated, it's very, very difficult for foreigners to get it right. Then there is other things that may compensate that, But I would say like this: if you really want to make it right, you will find a way. Maybe some things are so difficult, but it's also a matter of practice. Even 4 tones you can get right after a while. It just has to do with your devotion, with your passion on it.
Yeah.
If you really want it, you will open your ears. How did people learn a language in the old times? They had no computers, they had no translators, they had no books. How did they do that? They listened. They listened. And in the time of the Prophet, he sent 4 people to China. And they arrived there, and of course they had no a teacher that taught them Chinese, Cantonese in the old times, and they learned it. They learned it by listening, and this is how they learned it, and this is how they could communicate with people, and how they brought this message, and millions of people followed it and accepted it, right? So don't worry too much about that. Yeah, if you want it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And if it's not easy, it's not easy. Okay. Yeah, but you still can do it. Yeah.
But love is like this, the universal language of Sufism, and I think of all grace coming down. Can one feel a difference between divine love and emotional love? Does it feel different when the experience of those two, or is love the love, and when you have an emotional connection with another being and you feel that love, that's an example or an expression of the divine love?
It's like the light. Is the candle light not a representation of light? Yeah. Of course it is. Yeah. Every light is a representation of the divine light, yet it is not the light. Yeah. But it represents something of it. So looking to a candle, to the light of a candle, will give you some idea and some experiences how the divine light feels. And the same is with the love. You see, the love is of course also emotional. How can we be free of emotions to feel? Yeah. But the difference is that an emotion comes and goes. Yeah, it's in motion, right? While a feeling can become stable. Yeah. And that will happen when you experience the divine love. Yeah. There's something you cannot lose, right? And that's the difference. Now, emotions, they come, they go. But if you are in the inside of it, in the ocean of it, you cannot leave it anymore. You cannot forget it. You cannot not feel it anymore, or something like this. It stays with you, and this is the gift that he gives us, and that he gave every one of us, that he is there. Yet you may not feel it, you may not see it, but he is there always. And deep inside of you, you know that, yeah, because you are him, yeah. So this is how it is, right? And every year there is an unofficial world championship about love, yeah. And every year the Sufis are the champions, yeah. And we are inviting always everyone and say, come with all your poetry, with your music, with anything, with your art, with your whatever that is, and compete with us. Yeah, we would love to be defeated, yeah, because we always look for more, yeah. But yet, it's not happening, yeah. Yeah. And now all these people quote Rumi and Hafiz and sing our songs and recite our poems. No, okay, yeah, we are not. We don't have copyright issues. Yeah, you can have them, right? And if they make you happy, we are happy too. Yes. So whatever they like to steal from us, steal it. Yeah, it's yours. No.
That's the way to infiltrate love through many corners of the globe without having to push an agenda. Let the art and the love speak for itself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That-
exactly.
Catch the wave through the creative. Wonderful. That message is a good place to close. I thank you so much for your time, Sheikh Herrmann,
Thank you.
and it's been quite a
Thank you
pleasure to
also.
speak with you.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. You were very pleasant also for me. And I'm very honored